Hi, welcome to Polski. Well, we are doing a live discussion with a guru receiving an award with his book. He is Peter Lam, author of ProfitMAX. Thank you for joining us, Peter.
Hi, Kim. Great to be here. Great to be talking to you.
Yeah, appreciate your time to join these sessions. So I've read your book once, and I got really few good points there. So in the beginning, you mentioned about the three cornerstones of business success. First, you mentioned about it's a mindset. Second is a skill set. Then third is the methodology. So in the beginning of the book, you mentioned about these are the three cornerstones of a success business. And then you mentioned about the story examples of Michael Jordan and Honda as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think for personally, I've learned so much. The clear thing is about the one particular chapter in one small part is about talking about setting a clear goals. And then you give examples of quarter one to quarter four in a year. So I think that's helped me personally a lot.
Great, excellent. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, and then you give a template of the cash flow. I think that's a very good template, and it can be found in this book. So that is very helpful as well. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, and then this chapter of talking about marketing, and you mentioned about don't stand on one leg. That's very good. And then you give some equations on the calculations. So I think a lot of good stuff in this book. So back to our discussion today, I want to throw a question to Peter. What is your proudest accomplishment? Because you mentioned about you since 2003, you coach hundreds of businesses. You work in the companies like Unilever and Kraft Foods. That's amazing. So so that you have so much experience. What is your proudest accomplishment?
Well, it's been a long career when you get to my age, so there are few, but I guess if I had to choose one, it would be getting this book out after a couple of years of hard work, sweat, and tears, and actually being very surprised to actually win this award, which is the Golden Pen Award by iAuthors Club. And this book won the second runner-up just last month, just in December, actually. So that to me is a milestone for me.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Congratulations, Peter, on the award. I think it's great. It's not easy to compile a book. It takes time, a long time, and dedication to come up with a book.
Yes.
Yeah, and next, my next question is, for the business, why is it so hard? Why is it so challenging to accelerate a business? Back to our topic today. Today's topic is about accelerate your business in 2019. So it's a new year. Everyone is start with a new year plans. Everything starts from beginning again. So back to the business. Why is it so hard to accelerate, especially in this time?
Yeah, well, I guess what we're talking about is SMEs, the small medium enterprises. And the challenge with SMEs is the limited resources. When you look at the multinationals or the GLCs or the public listed companies, they have massive resources, no? They have an army of staff, they've got lots of cash, they've got capital, they can leverage borrowings, they've got a lot of resources. But for the SME, especially when you're starting out, and it could be two partners or one man solo army, So that's the challenge. Getting your business to scale up to a point where you can have critical mass and you can grow on momentum. So the most difficult part is the startup. And that's why entrepreneurs are a group of people that are highly respected. Because it's very demanding to get all the ducks in a row. As I mentioned in my book, you need the mindset, the skill set, and the methodology. So what challenges most business owners is they're lacking all three, or they're lacking one of the three. So some of them don't have the mindset in terms of doing whatever it takes and having the determination, the doggedness, the perseverance to carry on. Some of them are lacking some skill sets. What I mean by skill sets, it could be, they've never done a business plan before. They've never held a leadership position before. They've never done a sales role before. So they're very good technically, but they've never sold things in their career, no? And sometimes they just need the methodology. They might have the mindset, they might have some skills, but they lack the methodology. So this is the challenge for most business owners getting started. And sometimes it's a very painful 3 to 5 years before they break through. And you know the statistics, Kim, 80% of new businesses actually don't make it past 5 years. So that's a very high, very expensive toll rate to pay, you know. And we hear all the time that 98.5% of businesses in Malaysia are SMEs. But you know, it's so easy to register a company, an enterprise, a partnership, or even a Sendirian Rahat, just a couple of $1,000. So the challenge is you can start a company, but to grow a company takes a whole lot of skills, a whole lot of determination and vigor, and also the know-how. So that's why it's so challenging to grow a business. And what I try to do in this book is to make it easier on a step-by-step basis to help people to get through those hurdles, especially in the first 5 to 10 years, where people are struggling to get through a half a million, get through a million or 2 million or even 5 million. The initial years of scaling up their business, getting momentum, getting some critical mass. So I hope that answers your question, Kim.
Yeah, thanks for that, Peter. Very helpful. So you mentioned about limited, especially for small business owners, very limited in resources. It's very easy to start a business, but the challenge is to grow the business. So back to our topic today, how does the business growth and setting the right goals are related to each other? How would you tell that?
Yeah. So I like to tell a story or actually refer to a classic. Have you heard of the storybook Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Probably a lot of people have read it while they were growing up. No? It's a remarkable sort of a fairy tale. It's even been made into a movie. But basically, there's a critical part in that story where um, Alice comes to a fork in the road and asks the rabbit, no, which way should I go, left or right, no? So the rabbit asks Alice, where do you want to go? And Alice says, I really don't know. And the rabbit says, well, then it doesn't matter which way you go. Yeah. So a goal is exactly that. No? If we don't know the destination, if we don't know whether we are headed up to Sungai Petani or Ipoh or Malacca, then we're just going to drive around aimlessly and we might end up in the East Coast instead of North or South. So a goal basically helps us to set the direction. No? That's the first thing. The second thing is the goal forces us or gives us motivation to get into action. So by having a goal, it's like having a destination to strive for and gets us into action, especially if we choose a meaningful goal. So what do I mean by a meaningful goal? If you've been trucking along in your business for the last 5-10 years, growing about 5-10%, and you're happy with that, and you set a goal for 5-10% growth, that's not going to be a big deal, no? It's not really going to get excited. So setting a goal that is personally exciting will get you into action and give you some momentum. And the other thing is you then need to start thinking about what kind of new knowledge or what kind of skills you need to get to achieve that goal. So if you say, instead of 5-10%, I want to grow my business by 25% next year. How are you going to do that? Are you going to have some new products or new services that you're going to introduce? Are you going to do some different marketing? Are you going to start using digital marketing, for example? You know how to use digital marketing effectively. You know, last month, a couple of weeks ago, I was just talking to a client, and they were spending $4,000 a month, 4,000 ringgit a month on Facebook ads. And it was getting them a ton of leads. But the problem was their conversion was out of that 4,000 ringgit that they spent on Facebook advertising, they were only getting about 4 or 5 new customers a month. So that's terrible. That works out to roughly about $1,000 to get a new client or a new customer. So they have to learn the skill of how to use Facebook more efficiently, and then how to reduce their advertising on Facebook. To be more effective, more efficient, use lower funds to get the same result or even better result. So by setting a goal, you get a sense of direction, you get momentum, and also in the last example where I talk about this Facebook advertising case, you get to grow yourself, either professionally or personally. So in this case, if you pick up a new skill on Facebook advertising, how to get good results with Facebook, then you're learning to develop and grow in how to use digital media, for example. So goals are critical to success. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks for sharing, Peter. You mentioned about setting goals is about the directions and setting the good motivations to drive the business. And you mentioned about conversions, about leads to sales, which we're talking about on 22nd January, right? 22nd January, we're talking about topics on the conversions on leads to sales. So we will share more about that on this month, our next session. So back to our topics. How can small business owners set better goals, particularly in this year, 2019?
Yeah. So a couple of mistakes that I find a lot of business owners make is, number one, they set goals that are fuzzy, then goals that are not clear, you know. So when you have clear goals, then that will give you clarity, and clarity means you can move ahead faster, and that gives you power. If your goals are fuzzy, that's not going to help you. So what do I mean by a fuzzy goal? So a fuzzy goal is saying something like, I want to grow my business. So you don't specify exactly how much you want to grow. Is it 15%? Is it 22%? Is it 27% growth? And that doesn't help. You know? Another challenge or weakness that business people have is sometimes they're over ambitious and they set too many goals. So when you set 10 goals, you have no focus. I always advise my clients, limit yourself to 5 or maximum 6 goals for a year. That's already plenty to do. And as a guideline, you should make sure at least one of those 5 goals or 6 goals must be what I call a numeric goal. In other words, it's got to have some numbers in it. So it could be to improve your profit margin. When I was working in multinational companies like Unilever and Kraft, one of our goals would be market share. So to improve Lipton tea market share from 48% to 53%, for example, that could be a numeric goal. Or it could be a sales goal or a cash flow goal, but something related to numbers, you know? Because numbers make it focus and give you a level of measurability. And we know that what gets measured gets managed. If you don't measure, then you don't know how you're tracking. So number one is setting fuzzy goals that are unclear. Number two is setting too many goals. Number three is not being clear in terms of what you want to achieve. And number four is choosing the wrong goals. Now, what I mean by choosing the wrong goals? So it's kind of like the story of a man climbing up a ladder to fix a leak in the roof. And he puts up this ladder on the wall, and he climbs up and he climbs up, and you know it's quite dangerous when you climb up a tall ladder. And then he reaches the roof. And then he realizes that the leak is on the other side of the house. So wasted effort, wasted energy. So sometimes we set wrong goals. What does that mean? So in a business context, sometimes your business is not ready to fly to the moon. And you say you want to go to the moon, and that doesn't make any sense. So build your rocket first. That should be your goal. First, I want to build my rocket. That's my goal. Then maybe in 3 years' time, I will shoot for the moon. But first, I got to build my rocket. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you know, it's a lack of know-how, and sometimes that's the other issue. You know, so often I think you and I, we walk into a shopping mall or we walk along a street full of shops, and we see many of them are either folding or have changed. No, if we come back in 6 months' time, the shops are different shops, and partly that's because people have not set the right goals and they just open up a shop. I give you an example. No, couple of years ago, I was talking to a cafe owner, and the cafe owner had spent about $250,000 doing renovation and putting in equipment and all that. And then I asked them, what are you doing for marketing? Well, I've got a big signage, she said. I said, is that enough? And she was located in the upstairs, not on the ground floor. So people can't even see her signage because she's not, it's blocked, and the road's kind of narrow. So the first thing you want to do is, you're going to invest a ton of money. You want to make sure that some of your investment goes into preparing for the launch, for example, goes into marketing efforts and marketing strategy so that you drive people to your business and don't just open up shop and hope for the best. That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing, Peter. You mentioned about there are few wrong steps that small business owners tends to involve in. So one of them is setting a very fuzzy goals. Is too vague. It's very hard to define. Second, small business owners tend to set too many goals, so it lost focus and they're doing too many things. Hence, by setting too many goals, stopping them to achieving even one goal. So they are not going anywhere. So that's one side. And then you mentioned about setting a goals that is too big to achieve. So to counter that, you need to set a very valuable, very relevant goals so they can achieve. Not achieving to the moon, but first build a rocket first. That what you have mentioned. Okay, I think time is catching up, Peter. So I'd like to ask for your last words about today's topic, and if there's anybody's have questions about goal settings, what should they do?
Yeah. So I guess I want to wrap up with a bit of a couple of tips. No? So in setting your goals, make sure you follow the SMART formula, SMART. Be very specific and make sure it's stretched, be measurable, and make sure the goal is motivating. Make sure the goals are actionable and also realistic and also with a time frame. Now that's one. But you may have heard of this. Having a goal without a plan is just a wish. So once you have set goals, to achieve your goals, make sure you also spend some time putting together an action plan and make sure it is written down. Some people say my plan is in my head. Well, I can tell you that's not good enough. That's the same thing as having a fuzzy goal. Having a fuzzy plan is just as bad. There's nothing like putting down pen on paper. You can use a tablet, you can use your fantastic iPad, whatever, but make sure you write it down and be very clear about your plan. How are you going to achieve the 20% growth or the 30% growth or the 80% growth? What are you going to do in the first quarter? What are you going to do in the second quarter, and so on and so forth? So having an action plan is critical. And the third tip is you want to ask yourself, is this really a goal that means something to you? So in other words, ask yourself, if at the end of this year you miss the goal, would you feel that, a great sense of loss, or would you say, I didn't really want to achieve it anyway? So make sure you're not kidding yourself. Make sure you set a goal that is really important to you, that you really feel passionate about, that you really feel strongly about, that you really take ownership of. That will get you going. So set clear, concise, accurate, specific goals that are measurable. Have a clear action plan and make sure the goal is meaningful to you. And if you want more ideas, you can go to my website, peterlamcoach.com, peterlamcoach.com. So I hope that helps your viewers, Kim.
Yeah, Peter, you have painted a very good picture on how to grow accelerate the business in 2019, particularly about setting a good goals and make sure there are action plans. There are plans that make sure the business move towards the goal.
Yep.
Okay, I think we have got some very, very valuable insights from you. Within this month, particularly January in 2019, we will talk on a few topics as well, very related to small business owners. Today, we'll talk about accelerate your business in 2019 with the right goals. Next Tuesday, we'll talk about how to convert leads into paying customers. And then on 22nd of January, we were talking about building your dream teams for small business. And then on 29th of January, we talk how to manage lead successfully. How to not to lead, but not to manage, but to be a leader successfully.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have reached a very, very good times. We will see again next Tuesday.
Yeah, so look forward to sharing more ideas with you, Kim, and your viewers.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peter.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.